What if the kindness of a Hollywood star turned an embarrassing moment into a lifelong story of grace? Imagine Sandra Bullock humiliated in a luxury hotel, and Keanu Reeves stepping in, not as a superstar, but as a true friend. This is a story worth remembering. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with friends today. Luxury hotels are often seen as places where everything is perfect. The marble floors, the sparkling chandeliers, the quiet service. Every detail whispers of elegance. For the rich and famous, such hotels are not just places to sleep, but places to be seen. But behind the glamour, there are moments that remind us that no one, not even celebrities, is safe from embarrassment. Sandra Bullock, known for her charm and grace, walked into such a place one evening. She was attending a quiet dinner event, one of those gatherings where people from different parts of the world come together. The cameras were not rolling, and the red carpet was nowhere in sight. She expected warmth, politeness, and the same gentle respect she always tried to show others. What she found instead was something that shook her deeply. The evening started peacefully. Guests dressed in fine suits and gowns walked around, exchanging small talk and laughter. Sandra carried herself with her usual gentle smile. For many, she was not just a Hollywood star, but someone who felt approachable, like a friend you had known for years. But life has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. At the dinner, a group of elite guests occupied the best seats. Sandra, despite her fame, was shown to a table far at the back. The server who guided her did so with little respect, speaking to her in a cold tone. At first, Sandra brushed it off. After all, she never liked to demand special treatment. Yet what followed cut deeper. When she tried to order, the waiter rolled his eyes. When she reached out to greet someone, they turned away, almost as if her presence was an inconvenience. One sharp comment, whispered just loud enough for her to hear, made her cheeks burn. "She doesn't belong here," someone said, laughing. Sandra's heart sank. Here was a woman who had given joy to millions on screen, who had carried herself with grace for decades, suddenly reduced to feeling like an outsider in a place meant to welcome all. Keanu Reeves was also at the event, seated not far away. Known for his quiet nature, he often observed more than he spoke. His sharp eyes noticed what was happening, even when others pretended not to see. He saw the way the waiter dismissed Sandra. He saw the forced smile she gave, the kind people wear when they are trying not to break. He saw the group of guests who whispered, laughing at her as if cruelty were entertainment. For a moment, Keanu remained still, his heart heavy. He had been there before, humiliated, overlooked, treated as if he didn't matter. Life had not always been kind to him, and he knew the sting of such moments. Watching Sandra, someone he deeply respected, go through this, stirred something inside him. Keanu Reeves was not the type to seek attention. He never needed to prove his worth through loud gestures. But on that night, his actions spoke louder than any spotlight ever could. He stood up slowly, leaving his own comfortable seat near the center. Every eye in the room turned toward him. With his calm walk, he moved across the floor and approached Sandra's table at the back. Sandra looked up, a little surprised, her face still carrying traces of the humiliation she had endured. Without hesitation, Keanu pulled out a chair beside her and sat down. He smiled warmly, the kind of smile that melts tension, and said in a soft voice that only she could hear, "You deserve better than this. Let's make our own table the best one here." Those simple words carried more weight than the finest speech. Sandra's heart softened. For the first time that evening, she felt seen, not as a celebrity, not as a guest, but as a person who mattered. What Keanu did next shifted the entire mood of the room. Instead of ignoring Sandra's humiliation, he openly included her in every conversation. He asked about her thoughts, laughed at her gentle jokes, and treated her with the deep respect she had been denied earlier. And slowly, others noticed. A few guests, ashamed of their earlier behavior, began drifting toward their table. What had been the worst seat in the room became the place everyone wanted to be near. But Keanu wasn't doing it for show. His focus never left Sandra. He listened intently, nodding, encouraging her to speak. For a woman who had been pushed aside only minutes before, this was a reminder that dignity could be restored not by grand displays, but by genuine kindness. Later in the evening, when the noise had quieted and the dinner was coming to an end, Sandra leaned closer to Keanu. Her voice was low, her words touched with gratitude. "Thank you," she said simply. Keanu shook his head gently. "No one should ever make you feel small," he replied. "You've given so much light to others. Don't ever forget that. It wasn't a line from a movie. It wasn't rehearsed. It was just a man, reminding a friend of her worth." Sandra's eyes welled with tears, not from the humiliation she had suffered, but from the kindness that had rescued her dignity. By the end of the night, everyone had witnessed something more powerful than the sparkling chandeliers or the expensive wines. They had seen how one man's quiet action could change the entire atmosphere. Sandra, who had been sidelined and humiliated, now sat at the center of warmth and laughter. Guests who once ignored her now leaned in to listen. And while some of it was guilt, most of it was admiration for her grace and for Keanu's courage to stand beside her. The waiter who had once dismissed Sandra avoided her eyes, perhaps realizing the weight of his behavior. The guests who had whispered cruel jokes fell silent, their laughter replaced by uneasy respect. No speech could have achieved what Keanu did with a simple gesture, pulling up a chair and choosing kindness over indifference. That night stayed with Sandra. She later shared, in quiet conversations with friends, that it wasn't the humiliation that she remembered most. It was the way Keanu had stood by her without needing to make a scene. "It wasn't about saving face," she said. "It was about reminding me I was worthy of respect, even when others forgot it." That's what true friendship is. For Sandra, the experience became less of a painful memory and more of a lesson in human dignity. It showed her that no matter how respected or famous one might be, moments of hurt still happen. But what matters is who stands beside you when they do. Keanu never spoke publicly about the incident. He never used it to shape his image or to win applause. For him, kindness was never about being noticed. It was about doing the right thing, even if no one remembered. This humility was what made his act so powerful. He didn't rescue Sandra because she was famous. He didn't step in because the world was watching. He did it because he understood, deep down, that being human means treating others with respect. And that is why people call Keanu Reeves one of the rarest souls in Hollywood. The story of that night isn't just about Sandra Bullock or Keanu Reeves. It's about something we all experience. We've all had moments when we felt small, overlooked, or even humiliated. And we've all had chances, big or small, to step in for someone else. Sometimes all it takes is a chair pulled closer, a kind word, or a warm smile to turn someone's pain into comfort. You don't need fame, money, or power to make a difference. You just need heart. So if there's one lesson from this story, it's this: never underestimate the power of kindness. Whether you're in a luxury hotel or at a simple dinner table, the way you treat others can leave an impact that lasts far longer than the moment itself. As Sandra left that hotel, she didn't carry the sting of humiliation. She carried the memory of a friend who reminded her of her worth. And that's the kind of story worth holding on to.